Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 9 of quarter 3. You know we're nearing the end of the quarter because the bun on my head is getting higher and my roots are getting grayer. But anyway, I am Miss Lewis. I'm your teacher for 7th grade language arts, and we are in week 9. We technically have 9.5 weeks of the quarter, so we have this week 5 full days, next week 4 days, and then Friday actually is your first full day. Actually, we kick off spring break for you guys on Friday, and it's record day for us. So 9 days left of quarter 3. With that being said, I just want to let you guys know that next Monday, March 8th, is the last day to turn in any missing assignments or late work. That does not mean that when I assign work next week, that March 8th is going to be the deadline, because it is not. The work for this week is going to be due Sunday night, March 7th. But if you have any missing assignments that you still have not turned in, Monday, March 8th is the cutoff. I will not accept them after that. The reason is that when you're turning in assignments in some of those assessments for some of those articles, and you're doing it and you're going back, some of you guys, I don't close out my folders like some teachers do. And that's because some people have different extenuating circumstances in their families and reasons why they can't complete them. They're ill, they have family members who are ill, they go out of town. So I give people the benefit of the doubt. I do deduct late points when there is not a legitimate documented excuse. And I do penalize people for not turning them in on time. So don't think if you're doing your work every week on time and someone isn't, that they're receiving the same grade as you, because they're not. But I do allow people to do those assignments at a reduced rate. But when you're turning that work in, you guys, and you're doing it in some of those article quizzes, if it's not actually like a quiz for a text, and it's one of those article quizzes, and you're going back to like weeks 2 or 3 or 4, I do not receive a notification that you turn that in. The only thing I get a notification for is for an assignment in Schoology. So I have to constantly scan through all of the week's folders and assignments, and I have to check through each of the different periods to see if there's an assignment in one of those assessments that needs grading. That's why there could be times that I miss it if you do turn it in. So please notify me if you're someone who is going back and making up work. And tell me specifically which weeks and which assignments you're making up if it's not one of the ones in Schoology. If it's a Schoology assignment that you're actually submitting a document for, then I do get notified and I do get an alert for that and I do see it. And I've spent all day Saturday grading. I will spend all this entire week grading, putting assignments in, and letting you guys know if you're missing anything, if you need to correct and resubmit anything. And that goes for resubmissions as well. Monday, March 8th is it. That's the end, the cutoff if you have anything late, missing, or needing to be recorrected and resubmitted. So this week, you guys are going to focus again on writing. It's all about writing and writing our informative essay on digital pollution. And we will read The Devil's Arithmetic. You guys are going to have actually 2 chapters in there to read. Let me go through this week's assignments with you. But first, I want to say congratulations to our students who participated in TSA. I understand you guys did extremely well. And you guys put in a lot of hard work. So your hard work and your effort paid off. And I want to say congratulations to all of you. You make our school very proud. I'm sure you made your families very proud, and you yourself should feel very proud for your hard work. So congratulations to you guys. This week we have the video, which you should be watching right now. If you're not watching the video, you need to, because I'm going to go through some things that are going to answer questions, and these are some of the questions that I get asked for people who don't watch the video, because they usually get answered in here. Also, make sure, if you can, to attend the live lessons. We are going to try to do our live lessons as scheduled. I do have to be at Braden River High School tomorrow, but that time is at 10 in the morning, and I think it's only a 1 hour commitment. So I should be back in time to do our live lesson at 1 o'clock. If for some reason I get delayed, then I will post something in updates telling you guys I've been delayed and we have to postpone and move it back. Because I think, yeah, I still have you guys down and it's 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm going to try to make it back and I'm going to try to get back to do our live lesson. In our live lesson tomorrow, the focus is going to be on writing. It is all about writing this week. So I'm going to go over some things that we're going to need, you guys are going to need to know for this informative essay for writing. So you don't have to delve too deep into the assignments this week. Maybe you could start with number 3, the devil's arithmetic, and let me go through some of the writing with you during the live lesson. Okay, so here we go. We have the video script, which is a lot of what I cover in the video, but it's documented and written in case you need to go over it and read it. We have the checklist, which is kind of a snapshot of what we do. And then this week, like I said, we have 3 assignments, 2 of which are all about writing. Let's take a look at the first one. All right, here we go. First one, assignment 1 says Introduction for Informative Digital Pollution Essay. And that should say introduction paragraph. I'm going to change that when I get off of this. So this assignment is a continuation of that informative or explanatory digital pollution essay we're going to learn about, and then you're going to write the introduction for this essay on this assignment. Before you do so, you have to first view the PowerPoint. Now, people who try to skip all these steps are the same ones that get their essay, this assignment kicked back to them. And I say, did you not even look at the PowerPoint? Did you not even take the time to read the directions? Because those are the people who don't. Failure to do so, as I said, will result in the possibility, but I should have said probability, of having to redo both paragraphs. That would be your introductory and maybe even your body paragraph. And no one has time for that. I don't have time for that this week. You don't have time to keep redoing it. So do it right the first time, because if you don't have time to do it right the first time, then you must have time to do it again. And so take your time, carefully go through the directions, and do it right the first time. And then you can be done with it. You can put it behind you. So here's the prompt again. Write an explanatory essay for the school STEM magazine in which you explain the effects of digital pollution. You can't even write this if you don't know what digital pollution is. Now, when I wrote the sample intro paragraph for this essay, I had to reread today all 3 of those sources to even kind of get a grasp of digital pollution. You might have to do that again yourself as well. Your essay must be based on the ideas and information that can be found in the passage said. That also means your sources. Here are your directions. So review the prompt again, just like I did with you, so you know what you're writing about. Next, you're going to open the PowerPoint called Informative Introduction 7th Grade, and you're going to go through each slide. This is going to show you ways, show you each of the ways you can begin your essay introduction and how you should structure the paragraph. The hardest part of any essay is simply getting started. And when you learn some techniques for writing your introduction, and you can kind of, and you got to fit what works with the prompt and which works with your style. But when you pick a couple that kind of work with you and that you feel comfortable with, and you can begin that way, you don't have to be so afraid anymore of writing an essay and writing an introduction. Because an introduction basically has 3 steps. It has a hooker grabber, because you want to pull your reader in. An introduction is a lot like an introduction when you meet someone. You want to make a really good first impression. And so you don't want to be boring about it either. Like with your essay, there's nothing worse as a teacher or a grader to read a really boring introduction. And you know what? The opposite is true. There's nothing better than reading a really great, interesting introduction. I mean, I literally will put everything aside, all distractions aside, and I will hang on to every word of a paper that has a really interesting introduction. And so you have one chance to make a really good first impression, and your introduction is that. So it has a hooker grabber, then it has some background information or a lead in to your thesis. You never begin with your thesis. You never begin, as I say in here, with today I'm going to tell you about, and then I should have said, um, which you guys are talking about, the effects of digital pollution. You don't say what you're going to do. Remember the Nike slogan? You just do it. So there is no first person in a formal essay. So there's no I, me, my. You will keep out all of the I, me, my first person pronouns because they have no business in formal writing. And I always tell students, do you see an I in essay? Is the word essay spelled with an I? Is there an I anywhere in that in essay? No, there is not. So there should not be an I in your essay anywhere. So do not use an I in essay. How long should this paragraph be? 5 to 7 sentences long. The intro and the conclusion are the shortest paragraphs of your essay, but by short, it does not mean 3 sentences. It's 5 to 7. It also does not mean it's, 8 to 10 to 12, because that is saved for the body paragraphs. If you think of an essay like a hamburger, it's the bun, okay? So it's the top bun. When you go to bite into a hamburger, have you ever had like a brioche bun where it's kind of shiny on the outside and it looks fresh and it looks inviting and appealing? You don't want a bun that is like super, super thick that you can barely get your teeth, into, but you do want a bun that looks fresh, that looks inviting, that looks, like something you do want to take a bite out of. That's the same thing with an intro paragraph. The body paragraph would then be like the hamburger. Okay, it would be the meat of your essay. And then the conclusion is the bottom part of the bun, all right? And there has to be something there. So if there isn't a good conclusion, it'd be like eating a hamburger without the bottom of it, okay? It doesn't feel finished and something is missing. So think of it like that. Some teachers use a sandwich. I like to use a big fat juicy hamburger. If you're a vegetarian, I apologize. All right, so anyway, you're going to open the Word document called, like we said, informative essay. Okay, now I've given you the introduction. Now I've given you a Word document that you can actually begin typing on, because some of you may not know like what to type on. You can use this Word document if Word is compatible with your computer. It's a blank document. So you can open it up, you can start typing on it, and you can begin typing your introduction. I did give you some notes in the directions about indenting. You always indent the first word in your paragraph. So you're either going to push the tab button once or you're going to space bar 5 times. Whatever you do, be consistent with each paragraph. So you're not going to tab once and then the next time you're going to space 3 times. You're going to do the same thing for indentation each and every time you do it. I have included your sources again. So you have your 3 sources, you have your introduction, all right, and you have a Word document in which you want to type on, okay, if you choose to. You're going to save this, and you can go back and use your thesis statement that you created for assignment 2 last week, because you're going to need that. Your thesis statement should be the last sentence of that introduction. Feel free to use that. I'm going to go through and make sure those are graded, hopefully before you get started tomorrow. So like I said, if you can start with the devil's arithmetic assignment first, let me look over that thesis statement, get the go on that, and then start with this. So kind of go in reverse order tomorrow. Go 3 and then 1 and 2 for your assignments. That might be the better way to do it. So just to be clear, for this assignment, you're only writing 1 paragraph. That's the introduction only for the essay. Assignment 2, which we're going to get to next, you can continue using the same Word document to type that first body paragraph on, but you're going to turn it in again with your first body paragraph. So I did put that note in there for you. Save the Word, give the file a name, upload it. This is worth 20 points. You're going to be graded on having a hooker grabber, background info on the topic, inclusion of a clear thesis statement with no mention of any first person pronouns, no mention of announcing I'm going to tell you about, okay? Just simply do it. A very clear thesis statement. A thesis statement, remember, is your controlling idea, which is basically rewording the prompts, all right, and answering what the prompt is, which are the effects of digital pollution. You can't do it, though, if you have not read the sources. Let me show you one thing on the PowerPoint here. I actually wrote a sample introduction for you. All right, so when we open this PowerPoint, remember, don't click enable editing. You don't have to do that. You will click slideshow from the beginning, and then as you progress through, you can do the space bar. You get the writing standards. Here's the task, which is actually your prompt again. Introduction must-haves. You have to have a hook. Some people call it a grabber, same thing. A transition sentence or background. So background info, transition sentence. And then thesis, though, thesis statement. So this connects your hook with your thesis. You can't just go straight from the hook to the thesis. That would be about 3 sentences, and that's not quite enough. Don't assume that the reader or grader knows all about your topic. Most people don't know what digital pollution is. I really didn't know about it. My mother would have absolutely no idea what you were talking about. The average person over the age of like 40 or 50 would not know if they weren't into computers. So give them a little background as to what it actually is. And then your thesis statement, the topic and point of your essay, that's your controlling idea. So this is actually a PowerPoint. These are some of the ways that you can use the hook and reader. Okay. And then here's a sample intro for the essay that I wrote. My 23-year-old daughter, I was reading this to her as I wrote it tonight. She thought it was a bit disturbing, but you be the judge. Anyway, here's how it goes. A lizard with 3 heads and bulging eyes, an unexpected python infestation in Bradenton, and your favorite restaurant, the one you have always dreamed of, coming to a location near you. These are the types of rumors that arise when people spread false information on the internet. Digital pollution is information that is either false, altered, or information that has been classified as urban legends, those that take on a life of their own. This type of digital pollution infiltrates information on the web, and users must sift through reality versus fiction. And then insert your thesis here. That's where you would put your thesis, obviously, if it fit that sort of introduction. That would be an intro using a description, all right? Notes how it would hook the reader in, it grabs your attention, okay, it's a little graphic, and then, you want to keep reading it. That's not your typical, today I'm going to tell you all about digital pollution, the effects of digital pollution. That's something that's going to make you wake up. If you're someone who's sitting around grading essays all day, and you start reading that, you're going to be like, whoa, what's that? And you're going to want to keep reading. Now, it can't be so crazy that, you go way off topic. You're going to have to still come back and rein it in. So I only have, like I said, a line or two of this, and then I pull back into, all right, what digital pollution is. So I'm actually coming back into some background information on the topic, and I transition to my thesis. So something like that would work for a sample intro. And that's your PowerPoint. Take a look at that. That's assignment number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we have assignment 2, which is your first body paragraph. Your first body paragraph of that essay is going to look like this. You wrote your intro. It's time to move on to writing your first body paragraph. This is where the work comes in. This is where you remember Pearl. The point, the evidence, the analysis, the repeat of the evidence and analysis, and the linking sentence. So when we have been hammering Pearl, 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 these body paragraphs are the Pearl paragraphs. Okay, they follow that same format or structure. Here are the directions for that assignment. You will view the PowerPoint called Building Body Paragraphs for Your Informative Essay, 7th grade. Why do I put 7th grade on it? Because I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I don't want to get them confused. It is so important to go through this before you write your first body, because I'm going to break it down for exactly what you have to do in the paragraph. You start with the transition. All body paragraphs from this point on, even your conclusion, must have a transition at the beginning. You are graded, okay, in purpose focus organization. Transitions fall into that category. So you have to have a transition. And transitions help your essay flow smoothly. Think of the oil in the engine of a car, all right? That's what transitions do. Write the first body paragraph of the essay on the same document that you wrote your intro paragraph so that you can kind of follow the same thought process. You will still submit it again here for credit, but you may add on to that document. So you're actually going to be, like I said, you submit it once for the intro on assignment 1, and then you'll add on to it and submit it here. You double space between paragraphs, but the text itself is single spaced. Usually you want to stick to 12-point Times New Roman font, okay? Indent this paragraph the same way you did your intro. And now a good body paragraph, 8 to 10 sentences long, minimum 8. Okay, usually 10 to 12 is better, but 7th grade, I'll let you get away with about 10 sentences long. And I attached the Word document again in case you need it, but I prefer you use the intro and body building on each other. I've given you some resources below as far as transitions and sentence and evidence sentence stems and elaboration stems to use. I'll show you what those look like in a second. So you're writing one paragraph for this one, your first body paragraph. And then let me show you what this is going to look like. So here's your PowerPoint. And they are different, so don't assume I'm putting the same PowerPoint on. I would never do that. You're going to go to slideshow from beginning once again, space bar to progress through. And here's what your body paragraph has: a topic sentence, but don't forget transition first, textual evidence, elaboration, and a concluding statement. Okay, notes from planning lesson and independent practice. That's your practice. There's your prompt again. You're going to make your body paragraph. Don't forget, like I said, it's structured like the pearl. Now, here's a transitions reference sheet. This isn't the greatest one. This came from Right Score. I'll give you a better one. But this is kind of basic to get started with. A good transition, if you want to start your first body paragraph, is to begin with, or first of all. You can use that. Some of these transitions you can use within your paragraph if you need to. Like I said, I have other ones you could use first. Okay, second, third. So there's different ones on here. I have better ones. Like I said, this is just a basic one to begin with. Next, a lot of people don't know how to introduce evidence appropriately, or they get stuck on the words to use. This sheet right here, evidence and elaboration sentence stems, should help you. The more specific you are when it comes to introducing evidence, the better. What does that mean? That means rather than saying according to the text, you could say according to the article, and then you put the article title in quotation marks. That's better. Or you simply could say according to source 1, but they like the more specific reference. The older you get, the more specific you are as referencing the source, the better. But if it gets too confusing and you're not quite sure how to do it, you can say source 1, source 2, source 3. You can even do it after, okay, the quote in parentheses, and that's parenthetical citation. So that means you would put the source in parentheses after the quote. You could say according to the text, and then comma, the quote, and then after in, okay, parentheses, source 1, 2, or 3. Period always goes after those parentheses if you're using what what is known as parenthetical citation. You don't have to. That gets a little fancy, but for some kids, that's actually easier. So text in general, text specifically, and then if you're actually referencing the same text in the same paragraph, you could use some of these sentence stems. Now, when it comes to elaboration or analysis, what to say or how to say it, some of these, okay, sentence stems would help. Mix it up. Don't use the same ones again and again because they look for a variety. All right, they want a variety, not repetition. Repetition is one of the worst things you can do when it comes to writing an essay like this. So you have that PowerPoint. You have a blank Word document if you need it. I prefer you continue the same one. Transitions, evidence and elaboration stems, and your three sources again. Proofread for errors because there will be deductions if you have glaring errors, okay? Remember, you don't have to be perfect to get a 2 in conventions, but you can't have every other word misspelled. And then save and give the file a name, upload to this assignment, and that will cover assignment 2. Let's go to assignment 3, which is the devil's arithmetic. So, devil's arithmetic, here we go. This week you're going to read chapters 9 and 10, and you're going to do a storyboard. So we're going to do something different, a little more creative. So 2 chapters this week, your response is a storyboard. We're going to learn a little bit about symbols this week because you're going to have to include a symbol as you summarize. So this week's about summarizing and the use of symbols. So this just gives you kind of like a little definition of a symbol. And all a symbol is basically an object that represents something that is much deeper than what that object actually is. So let's say a heart. A heart represents love, okay? Symbolizes love. It could symbolize true love. A flag symbolizes sacrifice, freedom, liberty, right? So black is a symbol that represents evil or death. A rainbow symbolizes hope, right? Or the promise of maybe tomorrow. So that's what we mean when we say symbols. So take a look at that. Now for this assignment, after you read chapters 9 and 10, the devil's arithmetic, it's found on pages 71 through 89 of the PDF. That would be the top numbers. If you're using the bottom, pages 65 through 83. Then on the storyboard, you have 6 boxes in which you must summarize these 2 chapters. And that means, yes, 6 boxes. Here's what it looks like, and here's what you have to do right here. All right, so your document is going to look like this. You have to click enable editing, or you can't type on it. If you do, you can. Your storyboard summary of the chapter, you're going to list the 2 chapters here. So here you would go 9 and 10. Okay, you have to have that. Novel title, you must type in A Devil's Arithmetic. If you print it and handwrite it, okay. So it's actually The Devil's Arithmetic. Now, I can't leave it just like that because a novel title either has to be underlined if I'm handwriting, but since I'm typing, I'm going to put it in italics. It's the preferred way to do it is to italicize it like that, which is the slanted way. If I were handwriting it, okay, I would actually underline it. So, and since I'm not, I'm going to take that off there because I want to keep it like that. So if I'm handwriting it and I had no other way to do it, I'd underline it. You're also going to put the author's name there. Make sure you capitalize the important words of a title. Now, here's what you have to do. See these 6 boxes? These are the 6 boxes that you have to complete as you retell or summarize those 2 chapters. Depending on what you're going to put in each one, I don't know. You can choose. I'm going to give you the creative liberty to decide if you want to use 3 boxes for 9 and 3 boxes for 10, or 4 boxes for 9 and 2 for 10, or 2 for 9 and 4 for 10. It's totally up to you. whatever you think you need to retell or summarize what the main key central idea, not the theme, but the main central idea is for each chapter. So, picture or symbol has to be inserted here, okay? So this is where you're going to put a picture or symbol. You're going to take that out and you're going to put one here. Now, you might say how or where. You could go to Google Images. You could insert an emoji. Let's say maybe this chapter has to do with fear or death. You find something that symbolizes that, and all you do in this box is to insert a picture or symbol. Then here you will write a 1-sentence summary, okay, of that part. Then here, text evidence. So a sentence, okay, or two from the text that backs up your summary. All right. And then if you want to put the chapter number, feel free to do that. You have 6 boxes in which you will summarize chapters 9 and 10, and then save it. So let me go back and put that there. Save it and then upload it to this assignment. All right, so that's it for, let me say, that's it for this week. 3 assignments. I'll do Sunday, March 7th. 2 live lessons this week are Monday and Wednesday. Please email and message me. Also, big week this week. We have we have registration for next year, and some of you guys are going to be looking at going into the English 1 honors. Some of you 8th grade advanced, and some of you 8th grade regular. Take a look at the course catalog. Take a look at the requirements for each, and then discuss it with your parent. So you sit down with your parent, take a look at the requirements, look at your grades for quarter 1, quarter 2, and what it currently is for quarter 3. And then it's teacher recommendation. It's going to be grade, test scores. We don't have test scores from last year because of the lockdown and everyone going online for quarter 4. So no one tested last year. I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. But if you have any questions at all, I'm making a list of students that I would recommend for English 1 honors based on work ethic, based on what the teachers and I have come up with as, some of the things that we're looking for. But a lot of it has to do with basically making an A or, all A's and maybe a really high B, maybe 1 quarter, but most of it has to be like, A's, good work ethic, the ability to put the time and effort in, quality writing samples. The English 1 honors class it's a lot of work, and there's a summer reading assignment, and depending on what other classes you take, you need to have a good balance. 8th grade advanced will be offered next year at DMJ, so take a look at the course catalog. The registration happens through science, so your science teacher will be talking to you guys about that. And like I said, I'll be making a list. I'd be happy to discuss with you individually if you have any questions about placement and would like to talk to you about it. So email, message me, contact me. And like I said, we can talk about it. I'd be happy to talk to your parent about it as well. We can all meet together on Teams or simply have, a phone call if that works best for everyone. Have a great week, everyone, and look forward to seeing you next week for our 4-day week. Get your work turned in. March 8th is the deadline, and get working on that essay. All right? See you guys later. Hope to see you at the live lesson. Bye-bye.